Top 10 points about how Britain's most infamous gangsters ruled London. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the dark and thrilling world of London's criminal underworld. Join us as we count down the top 10 ways Britain's most infamous gangsters ruled the streets of London. Number 10. The rise of the Krays, twin brothers who dominated London's underworld. The story of Britain's most infamous gangsters begins with the Kray twins, Ronnie and Reggie, whose criminal empire cast a long shadow over London. Emerging from the East End in the 1950s, the Krays quickly built a reputation for brutality and ambition. Their rise was marked by a series of violent acts, including the notorious murders of rival gangsters. The twins didn't just control the streets, they established a sophisticated network of illegal operations, from protection rackets to armed robbery, all while maintaining a veneer of respectability through socialite connections. Their reign was not only a testament to their ruthless efficiency, but also a reflection of the power they wielded over London's criminal and social landscape. As their empire expanded, the question lingered, how did the Krays maintain such dominance amidst increasing law enforcement pressure? Number 9. The Richardson Gang, rivalry and violence in South London. While the Krays ruled the East End, the Richardson Gang was making its mark in South London. Led by the brutal and calculating Eddie Richardson, this gang was infamous for its violent tactics and territorial disputes with the Krays. The Richardson Gang specialized in extortion and armed robbery, operating with a similar mix of intimidation and cunning. Their rivalry with the Krays was legendary, leading to bloody clashes that shook the city. The ongoing feud not only highlighted the intense competition within London's criminal underworld, but also underscored the violent nature of their business. How did the Richardson Gang's operations and their clash with the Krays shape the criminal landscape of London? Number 8. The influence of organized crime syndicates, Italian and Jewish connections. London's criminal underworld was not solely dominated by local gangs. It was also shaped by organized crime syndicates with international connections. Italian and Jewish crime families played a significant role in the city's illegal activities, from smuggling operations to loan sharking. These syndicates brought with them a different level of organization and ruthlessness, often working in conjunction with local gangs to expand their reach. The collaboration between these diverse criminal organizations created a complex web of crime that spanned across London and beyond. How did these international connections influence the power dynamics within London's underworld, and what impact did they have on local gang operations? Number 7. The role of corruption, how gangsters bought influence. Corruption played a pivotal role in the rise of Britain's most notorious gangsters, providing them with the necessary leverage to expand their criminal empires. From bribing police officers to infiltrating local government, the influence of corruption was pervasive. Gangsters used their ill-gotten wealth to gain favor with key figures, ensuring that their criminal activities went unchecked. This corruption not only protected their operations, but also allowed them to operate with a sense of invincibility. The symbiotic relationship between crime and corruption created a barrier to justice and helped perpetuate the power of London's gangsters. As investigations into these connections continue, the extent of this corruption remains a critical question. How deeply was the city's governance compromised? And what steps were taken to address this pervasive issue? Number 6. The rise of the South London crime families, a new generation of gangsters. As the original wave of gangsters began to wane, a new generation of crime families emerged in South London. These new players, including figures like the infamous Kenneth Noye, brought fresh methods and criminal innovations to the scene. The rise of these crime families was marked by a shift in focus from traditional rackets to more sophisticated criminal enterprises, including large-scale drug trafficking and organized robbery. Their ability to adapt to changing times and maintain a high level of violence and intimidation ensured their place in London's criminal hierarchy. The emergence of these new crime families represented a significant shift in the landscape of London's underworld. What factors contributed to their rise, and how did they reshape the city's criminal scene? Number 5. The impact of drug trafficking, how narcotics transformed the gang wars. The introduction of drug trafficking into London's criminal underworld had a profound impact on the gang wars that dominated the city. As narcotics became a major source of revenue, gangsters shifted their focus from traditional crimes to the lucrative drug trade. This new source of income fueled further violence and competition among rival gangs, leading to an escalation in criminal activities. The transformation of the gang wars through drug trafficking also introduced new dynamics, including international drug routes and increased law enforcement scrutiny. The rise of narcotics changed the nature of gang warfare, with drug-related violence becoming a central theme in London's criminal landscape. How did the influx of drugs influence the power struggles among gangs, and what were the long-term consequences of this shift? Number 4. The role of fear and intimidation. How gangsters controlled the streets. Fear and intimidation were fundamental tools for Britain's most infamous gangsters, used to exert control and maintain dominance over their territories. Gangsters employed a range of tactics to instill fear, from public displays of violence to threats against those who crossed them. This climate of fear not only silenced potential informants, but also ensured compliance from local businesses and residents. The psychological impact of these tactics played a crucial role in the gang's ability to operate with impunity. The pervasive atmosphere of intimidation created a sense of lawlessness that allowed the gangs to thrive. How did these tactics shape the dynamics of power within London's underworld? And what was the impact on the communities affected? Number 3. The influence of media and public perception. The gangsters' public image. The media played a significant role in shaping the public perception of Britain's most notorious gangsters, often glorifying their criminal exploits and contributing to their larger-than-life personas. Sensationalist reporting and tabloid headlines turned gangsters into celebrities of sorts, fueling both fascination and fear among the public. This media coverage not only amplified the gang's influence, but also created a mystique that contributed to their enduring legacy. The relationship between the media and the criminal underworld highlights the complex interplay between public perception and actual criminal activities. How did media portrayal affect the power and reach of these gangsters? And what role did it play in their ultimate downfall? Number 2. The fall of the giants. How law enforcement took down the gangsters. The eventual downfall of Britain's most infamous gangsters was driven by a concerted effort from law enforcement, leading to a series of high-profile arrests and prosecutions. The crackdown on criminal activities was marked by a significant increase in investigative resources, including undercover operations and enhanced surveillance techniques. The dismantling of major criminal networks was not only a triumph for law enforcement, but also a turning point in the battle against organized crime in London. The fall of these gangsters demonstrated the effectiveness of coordinated law enforcement efforts in combating powerful criminal organizations. What strategies and tactics were employed to bring down these criminal empires, and how did their downfall impact the broader criminal landscape? Number 1. The legacy of London's gangsters, lessons and impacts. The legacy of Britain's most infamous gangsters is etched into the history of London's criminal underworld, leaving behind a complex and enduring impact. The rise and fall of these criminal figures offer valuable lessons about the nature of organized crime, the role of corruption, and the challenges of combating powerful criminal networks. Their influence extended beyond the realm of crime, shaping public perception, media coverage, and law enforcement practices. As London moves forward, the legacy of these gangsters serves as a reminder of the enduring battle against organized crime and the ongoing efforts to maintain justice and order. What lessons can be learned from their story, and how does their legacy continue to influence the fight against crime in London? Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed the content, please hit the like button and subscribe to stay updated with our latest videos on YouTube.